Where are you from originally?
Nashua, New Hampshire.
Okay, so you're East Coast too. Kind of.
Yeah,
You're
like,
in LA. You're
right, like 45 minutes outside of Boston.
Gotcha.
When did you move out west?
I moved to Astoria in 2004 when I was 21, 20 years old, something like that.
How old are you now?
38. So I stayed in New York, in Bushwick and Astoria for like 7-8 years, and then I've been in Long Beach and LA and the Valley from like 2010 on.
It's a long time out there.
Yeah.
12 years. So how did you love it out there? Give me your story from the start of LA to where you're at now.
Well, first I'm going to admit that the weather to me is a massive factor in terms of like my own contentment. I don't want to be around snow, so that was a huge factor. At the time I moved, it was basically because the BMX industry is in California as opposed to like almost non-existent in New York. So that was a big part of why I moved at the time, because that was my business at the time. And then
so in 2010 you were into the bikes.
2006 I started this BMX blog because I was super influenced by all the early hip-hop blogs, and I was a BMX rider, obsessed with BMX videos and magazines my whole life. I saw Nair Right and Two Dope Boys. I said, oh my God, I'm going to do that, but about the bike shit. Boom. Like within a year, it was like huge. It basically became like the biggest platform in the space. And
what was the name of that?
The Come Up.
The Come Up.
And I kept grinding that until at a certain point I'm starting to get bored. I'm like, I'm going to start doing podcasts with all these BMX riders and company owners and pros, whatever. I start doing that. I did like 100 episodes, and then along the way, I was living in downtown LA. I'm kind of like right at the epicenter of a lot of the underground SoundCloud rap shit that was going on. Like Playboy Carti stopping by the bike shop, you know, Ski Master, Slump God, all these guys were like kind of around and shit. And so then that's how I kind of started to get some of those interviews and stuff, even though myself, I've pretty much been listening to primarily rap since I was like 9 years old. But I was always just a fan. I never really felt like I had any kind of right. Like when I was looking at Now Right and all that in like 2005, I'm like, this is amazing. Maybe I should start my own hip-hop blog. And then I'm like, I don't really think I have anything to offer aside from just being a fan. It's not like now with YouTube where anybody is just like, hey, I'm a fucking hip-hop YouTuber now, you know? I didn't have that confidence. It took me like a long time to really be like, okay, I feel like I could actually deserve to interview a rapper, you know? So I kind of got my feet wet with that, and then started using those connections to start interviewing, you know, more adult rappers, legacy rappers, street rappers, whatever, like more.
And as you're doing that more, what's happening with the Come Up?
It just kind of stagnated at a certain point. Like the blog thing overall started to really fade by like 2014 or whatever, and the business part of it wasn't really that great, and I really lost passion for it, so it's kind of been on a hiatus. But like that's part of what we're doing out here, where I got my BMX team, is that we're kind of trying to
fast forward to now.
It.
You abandoned the bikers
because I still had the bike shop up until the pandemic.
All right, but now there's a newfound groove with some of these younger rappers that are coming by. They give me dope interviews. Hey, I can make a quick pivot here.
Yeah. Well, for me, I was doing both at the same time.
Or be inclusive.
I had people just running the BMX side of things for me. Yeah, but it started to like occur to me, because when you're in that BMX space, it's like it's a small world, and almost nobody ever gets to like pop their head out above ground. You know, like every once in a blue moon, you'll see some viral shit involving the bike riding shit, whatever. But it's very rare. All of a sudden, I started interviewing underground rappers who are doing like 10 times as many views, and all of a sudden, I'm starting to feel like, oh, I'm actually in the game. Oh, I actually had a conversation with Academics, or I had a conversation with Vlad. All these people that I was like watching their content, and I'm starting to actually get in the game. And that to me was like, and then all of a sudden, my life became posted up in the shop all day. Different rappers are coming in, different brands, different chicks, whatever. All of a sudden, I'm just meeting like nonstop people, and it just really kind of like, all of a sudden, I'm doing 3 or 4 interviews a day. And
now, what year is this?
2017 was when it really.
Were you a fan of the people that you were bringing in? Because you say you've been listening to rap since you were 9 years old.
A lot of times, but I also consider it like an important thing that I could be able to interview somebody who I don't really give a fuck about their music, and still be able to like honor and respect their work and everything like that, and be able to tell the story in an interesting way, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
When was that we were trying to hire you? What year was that? 2018?
Probably.
2018.
State of the Culture featuring Adam22. What an insane reality that was almost a simulation that was ran. Never would have worked.
I fought for that behind the scenes.
You said it wouldn't have worked?
No. I wouldn't want to move here. It would have just been a disaster hopping on the plane to come out here every fucking week or whatever.
You didn't have to move out here. You didn't have to move out here.
I just don't think I'm really ready to do anything besides just focusing on my own business. And even then, it was probably even more true.
No, I could see in 2018 you thinking about that move.
No, I thought about
The
it.
visibility, the associations, the affiliations. I could see you, and still the same thing you did with your come up. I could see you still wanting to run your company and leverage this. It's what Act did. I mean,
It was very...
it's not an off move.
It took a lot of thought at the time, but ultimately I was like, yeah, it's just not going to work. But you were also, like, larger than life to me at the time. Like, the idea of saying no to you was, like, kind of crazy.
I don't home revolt.
Huh?
She wasn't saying no to me. I don't home revolt.
No, but I mean, just when I went to that penthouse hotel of yours and we smoked cigarettes on the balcony and talked about this
Had a
idea
time.
and
We had
you
a
gave
time.
me game and led me in the right direction, almost like a mentor. Not really.
Shut up, man. Shut up. So,
People
but
always
that- but
talking
that's
about their
one-
mentors. I never had a mentor.
Did I
I got some people I can ask questions to, but that's about it.
I
Mentor
had a
sounds
mentor.
like a lot. I heard X saying
Either.
like Charlamagne been like a mentor to him. I'm like, fuck. Should I have been asking all these people to mentor me over these years?
Well, you could see how Charlamagne would.
But sometimes shit do,
Would
you
be a
be
mentor to,
sometimes people
Act.
be a mentor, but without it
Acknowledging
being like,
it.
yeah,
you
you're
just
a mentor.
become friends with them and text them and talk to
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
you go out and have a drink.
So in
and-
that way, I
Or
guess.
from
yeah.
afar. Or from
Yeah.
afar.
So nobody put you under the wing and just tried to help you advance
Not really.
this entire time.
Not really. But I'm not that kind of person anyway. Like, I fucking meet rappers, I do content with them, and we could stay in touch a little bit, but I'm not like a groupie who's going to be trying to pull up to the studio. I see how a lot of these people in LA are cool because they fucking are dick riders who just will pull up to the studio on a moment's notice to just sit around with some rapper.
Happy to be here.
Who's barely giving you the fucking time of day because you're just a dick rider. I did that shit early on for sure. And I don't, I'm happy as fuck that I don't have to do that anymore because that shit is just,
That sounds disgusting.
it's awful.
All right, so 2017, we're getting in our groove. 2018, you telling me and Puff to fuck off.
Puff. Just you.
When does this see? It was Puff. Okay. When do you start to see an uptick in what you're doing?
2020, the pandemic hits. We had just moved into a fucking new space. We had just decided to get rid of the store, coincidentally, like immediately before the pandemic hit. And that's around the time that we brought in my guy AD from Compton. And all of a sudden, he brought a lot of new energy to the space, realistically. And he didn't have shit to do because it's the pandemic. All of a sudden, he's not going to the club or touring or do whatever the fuck else he was doing. And then he starts bringing more people around. All of a sudden, we started to hit more of like a crew dynamic amongst the team and everything. And that's when I felt like it really started to take steps for it to start to feel like, oh, this is a bunch of guys who have a real actual friendship and they're talking about everything that's going on. Because to be real, when I started my weekly podcast, the No Jumper Show, every Tuesday at 6 p.m., it was 100% like, I see what Joe Budden's doing and I want that. I want to not have to always worry about getting guests. I want to be able to just have some friends that were consistently building rapport.
It's tough, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's definitely tough, and a lot comes with it. But,
Have you lost anybody along the way?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Tell us about it.
Randoms. Yeah.
No. No, sir.
You're not getting off that easy, buddy.
That's not what Adam would do to Joe Budden if I were on the No Jumper platform right this second. Come on, give me something.
Nah, but I can't think of anybody that you would even fucking.
I don't want to know him. I just want to hear about you dealing with loss as you're growing
How
your
close
company.
were you?
In terms of like employees that I eventually like had to let go. I mean, everybody, all your friends from early on, you're gonna have to fucking, and not all, but it's like it's very difficult.
Oh,
for
so
people
you do
to grow
understand.
With you. It's very difficult for people to grow with you, and just accept that this benefits you to an extent that it doesn't benefit them, even if it is benefiting them as well.
Well, how do you deal with that?
I mean, sometimes you just gotta
Keep it
sorta
pushing.
cut off the bullshit and just be like, all right, if that's how you feel, then I'm not fucking with you anymore. And what are you gonna do?
No Joe Budden.